ask me to restate something, or if you want to ask the community if they have a question about it or anything like that, I'd be happy to review it.
Yeah, you bet. That sounds great. And then I'm not sure I put your email address on there. I've got your fundamentalman.net website and those types of things. And so you're going to need to, you'll want to punch that into the, when it gets appropriate time for that, punch that into the chat box, because they're going to need that, because that'll probably be the best way. Or you can put your phone number in there too, because you're going to want to give them an opportunity. Right, there you go. To reach you as quick and easy as possible, because I'll certainly have some questions. I mean, I'm going to have questions, heck, and I'm as interested in this as anybody, because I think it's fantastic. Anytime we can evaluate what we're doing, we're going to get better. So, but we still got about 8 minutes, so we'll just let me welcome some of these coaches into the room. It'll be real interesting, Rich, and then also Adam says he can't hear anything. Okay, hey, for everybody, the best thing to do, if that happens, is just log out and then log back in with your link, and it'll work out that way. But what's interesting about doing this on Sunday is I've always been curious with the College Coach Now group, because our attendance has never been what I've wanted it to be, and I've always wondered whether a Sunday afternoon would be a better time to do it. So we'll see. I think it is a good time. So I even got your picture in there. How's that? Is that pretty good?
That's me. You know what? That kid was like 17 when we did this.
Yeah.
And he's now the ball handling specialist. He trains actually the guards over at Louisville. He's in there. He's in their program. Right? He works out with the team and trains their guards and on ball handling. So he works with Peyton Siva and all their players.
Awesome. Hey, just a shout out. We've got about 5 minutes left. I want to thank all of you. As you can see on your attendee list, we're all able to kind of take a look at who's coming in. And Blake and James, welcome to the program. Seth, AJ, Linda Day, I know, is here from our College Coach Now group. And welcome to all of you. I'll explain kind of how we go about this in terms of being able to ask questions and things once we start. But this is the first time Rich and I have done this, and it's probably the 10th program I've done with Talk Fusion, who's the provider of this kind of software, and it's worked fantastic. But of course, there's always a glitch or two that we may have to work out, but that's fine. That's like anything else. Welcome, Ryan Mahoney. Thanks for joining our program. Coach Walton and I appreciate it. Now, the other thing, for those of you that are on this program with me for the first time, if you would like to have your video shown up in the attendee video, you can see Coach Walton's up there. All you do, and certainly you've probably got a webcam, and if you do, just go to that little box below Rich, it says broadcast my camera and mic. And when you click on that, you'll have the option to allow your camera to be shown. And when you do that, you'll pop up on the attendee video, just in case anybody there wants to give us the opportunity to see who you are. Go ahead and do that. That's certainly up to you. You know, the chat, Coach, the chat's a really cool feature because, as you can see, Adam's having a little problem with it being a little choppy, and AJ had some problems earlier. Well, you guys can talk back and forth and probably work some of this stuff out. I will tell you that the strength of your wireless, whether you're plugged in Ethernet or if you've got kind of a weaker wireless signal, that will definitely, because this is a video-based program, that definitely may have an impact. But just hang with us, because this is being recorded. I record all my programs, make a video recording of what we're doing, and so we will always be able to get that to you if you had any kind of problems, or you know, maybe you've got to leave early and you missed a little bit of it. So always looking out for you. Edo Singer, glad you could join us, buddy. Glad you're here. Welcome to also Brian Ziegler, Larry McKenzie, Jacob Lyon, Don Lamb. Welcome to all of you. Thanks for joining the program. I got ready for a second, Rich. I just wanted to show you and the coaches that are on with this that I may at times go to a bigger screen, and if so, I'll sort of wipe out the attendee video bar, but that's okay. The information we're providing is of the utmost importance, so there's a lot of cool things you can do with the format on this. Well, Rich, if you're ready, it is 5 o'clock Central Standard Time. I know you're like me. You're one that likes to be prompt. We'll be having coaches come in and come and go as they please, which is fine. But I'm ready to roll if you are. Rich, are you ready to roll? All right, just checking my audio. Rich and I will be going back and forth. But I want to make sure he can hear me, so we're able to go back and forth. So, Rich, can you hear my audio?
Okay, Randy, I think you can hear me, right?
Yes, I sure can. Are you with me? Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. Well, then we're going to get rolling. As I said earlier, I know as coaches we're used to being prompt, and I know Rich is like me, and so we're going to get this thing going. I want to welcome all the coaches. We have a good group with us right now, and we will have coaches coming in and out of this program. Rich and I are going to try to get this done in 45 minutes and respect everybody's time. I know we've all got busy schedules, so I want to jump right into it. The fella up in the attendee video bar, Rich Walton, is a very respected basketball coach, a trainer, and has a program that I've been really interested in for some time now since I met Rich, which is called 9450 Evaluation, and that's why we're here. And I'm going to let him do justice to it. But please feel free if you have questions. I want to let everybody know this right off the top. Go into your chat box and just ask the question. I'll be monitoring, so if there's something that I need to interject with in terms of question, Rich, if there's questions you see, you can just jump off of whatever you're doing and go on to that. So we're just going to have a conversation, Coach and I, and present to you 9450. So briefly, I'm Randy Brown, and my company is CoachRB. I've been coaching this great game over 30 years, both a high school coach and a collegiate Division I head and assistant coach for 20 years. And I've got a real passion for helping coaches do their craft to the best of their ability. And I've got a special offer for you at the end of the program, so you can get hooked into my website and my membership through my video website, which we think is second to none. And those of you that are not familiar with me, I'd love to hear from you. And I'm going to punch my email address in here so that you can contact me. I'd love to be able to help you and get you plugged into what I'm doing and on my end. But I'm here primarily with Rich. Rich is a coach I've got to know, and we're going to have a Q&A between Rich and myself. And I'm going to get to a page here, but this is basically what we're going to cover. Always like to give coaches an idea of what the agenda is going to be. And let me go to the next screen here. And so you can see some information on Rich. He owns a Fundamental Man Skill Development Academy in Connecticut, trains hundreds of players a year. He now, in fact, is at a very high level a training camp, working with some excellent players. He works with players from elementary and youth all the way through the NBA. And what's cool about that is what he does is applies to every player at all levels. And we don't have to reinvent the game for one player or another player. This game is actually very easy if it's done the right way and taught the right way. And Rich Walton knows how to teach this game the right way. There's his website you can go to, and he'll put his email and contact information in the box too. But we're real glad to have him with us. So our objective of this conversation is to educate the coaching community, those of you who have joined us, on what this is all about. And before Rich starts, I just want to mention one thing. And again, as I mentioned, I've been in this game a long time and have my own basketball academy, work with a lot of college players. And Rich, lately, what I've been doing just for my own kind of knowledge is anybody I see on Twitter or comes through in an email that says that they work with players, they have an academy, they do training, I usually send them a real quick message. And I ask them at the end of a workout or series of sessions, what is your evaluation tool for gauging whether a player is getting better? And I'm pretty sure you won't be shocked. But first of all, I only hear back from about 20% of the coaches. And of those 20%, about 10% actually have a tangible, time-tested, proven evaluation tool, which really personally blows me away. If I'm a parent who's paying $60, $75, $100, and we've got that going on here locally, and I get nothing but a pat on the butt, my son or daughter, and have the instructor say, hey, great job. Boy, they're really shooting it well. That doesn't mean anything to me. We deserve to give parents and kids an honest, ongoing, very comprehensive, well thought out and organized evaluation. And that's what you do. And that's why I'm excited, because I get real ticked off at this so-called teaching community that we have. And if they're not evaluating, they're not doing their job. And I'm kind of taking it as a personal affront. As you can tell, I get a little fired up about it. So let's go right into our Q&A, Rich. And the coaches will begin to really see what this is all about. He did a great job of giving me kind of an outline of questions. So let me start with a real tough one. What's 9450, Rich?
Hey, Randy, I appreciate having me on, first of all, and I
Sure.
thank you for being here with the coaches, and like you said, we're going to do a 45-minute interview. I'm going to try to answer everything completely and succinctly as fast as I can. To take a step back, though, just to where you were a couple minutes ago, with objective assessments, working with players, I'm a guy who kind of started his thing about 9 years ago, and I did the same thing everybody else would do, get a couple of basketballs, a couple of training materials, and figure it out as I went, and how to develop and give players information so that between workouts they were doing things that they needed to do to improve. And there were some players that were improving and some players that weren't, if I was honest towards my objective approach to working with players. Now, over time, I got better. I got better at what I do. I got better at training. I got better at delivering information to players. I got better with my regimens. Everything got better. But to put it succinctly, 9450 gives me an assessment tool that allows me to objectively measure ball handling and shooting skills for every single player that I work with. As you mentioned, I work with high-level elite college players. I work with elementary players. How can I objectively give them information that's going to transcend what they do between workouts? And that is what I'm so enamored with. I get so excited about talking about 9450. I can talk about it all day with everybody. Is we now have a system of regulating, of measuring, of developing players, and we are able to give them aptitude tests, assessments based around their skills. So we're able to give them ball handling tests and shooting assessments where they're very quick, very brief, and we can provide them with information that was previously never given, never been able to relay to players, and it's drastically altering and modifying how they practice for performance.
Fantastic. Let's go to the next one, Coach. What specifically does 9450 work? I know you just talked about ball handling and shooting, but and again, the information is here. And let me just interrupt for a second. I'm putting some things in the chat. Now, I'm able to record this, coaches, and so if you do have some technical difficulties, or you're probably going to want to go back and really study these, because Rich is really going to hit some highlights, but go back and study these screens and really get a better idea of exactly what it is, because in the time we have, he's certainly not going to be able to be as thorough as he wants to be. But if I have your email address, I'll be able to send you a link to this program and a recorded link. So I'm just indicating that on the chat. Rich, how specifically does it work?
Well, we're all familiar with the basketball at this point. Now, this basketball, the 9450 ball, is very unique in the way that it has sensors in it. It has sensors inside the basketball, which can then give players objective information on what their left hand versus their right hand is. We can give them catch the shot, release time. We can get them ball spin. We can give them entry arc. We can give them information to help them optimize their performance. Now, I can give a player a 30-second shot test, a 25-second or a 2-minute ball handling test, and that immediately it'll tell me, and it'll tell them exactly what their weaknesses and flaws are. So we all know that the players have weaknesses at all different levels, okay? Especially with us who work with high school players, even college players, a lot of them have weaknesses. So how can we give them information that's going to alter their practice habits to address those weaknesses, whether it's a left-hand weakness, a shooting weakness? How can we give them direct, objective information that they can take and use and apply in a better practice series to improve?
Now, obviously, if we're doing evaluations, there's got to be an element of testing and measurement. And I think this is what is so unique about what you guys do, because this is the detail that you go into to really make this special. I'll be honest, I've been doing this a long time, and like I said, I get irritated at those that don't evaluate at all. But I've never seen anything of this detail, and that's why I think that this is so valuable for you coaches to be here and listen to this, because I think we can watch video, we can read books, we can talk to other coaches, but I think you will find, I think you'd be blown away at what you can find out about your players, and probably yourself as a coach, when you plug into the details of this evaluation. So talk to us about tests being measured, Rich.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like any other coach in the way that all I care about is that my players get better. So regardless of the technology and what the information is that the tests provide the players, the only thing that really matters to me is, are they doing the things I need them to do as a coach? Are they doing the things that they need to do in order to get to a higher level? So the tests themselves are very simple, very practical. They take about 1 minute to 2 minutes to run. Now, within a series of 5 shots, I can tell a player exactly what their ball spin rotation is. I can tell them what their entry arc is. I can tell them what their catch-to-shot release time is. And everything within those tests are all categorized. It's all categorized so it'll tell them whether they are hitting an optimal range or whether they are not. So, for instance, entry arc, all right, vital to becoming a good shooter. It is very rare that I will test a player that will shoot at an optimal 45-degree angle. Very, very, very rare. Okay, so a lot of shooters shoot with a low arc and they're front rim shooters. So how can I give them the information they need to then become a better shooter? I can't just stand there and say you need to shoot higher. You need to shoot higher. Well, what does higher mean? They don't even know what entry arc means. So they have to get on the system to learn. Okay, well, they're shooting at a lower aptitude. They're not in anywhere near their optimal ranges. So if we can get them in an optimal range at 45-degree entry arc on a 5-shot test that takes 25 seconds, it's very worth it to me and my players. So then from there, we can start to adjust their practice habits and what they're doing to move them incrementally up. So if they're shooting 35 degrees, how can we get them to 40 degrees? How can we get them to 42 degrees? How can we get them to 45 degrees? Because they're going to make more shots. From there, we can address ball spin rotation, very vital in becoming a good shooter. And then we can address the weakness of catch-to-shot release time. So I can address off of a screen, off of a dribble, whatever type of shot that I need a player to be able to make or that they need to improve at, I can give them objective data on their shooting ability within 25 seconds. It takes 25 seconds, and right from that first test, and what you just said, is they will take that information and you will immediately see an adjustment in their practice habits. They will begin to make immediate changes to how they practice from that point forward. And within a very brief amount of time, they will start to make these adjustments that are going to correct their flaws.
You know, a question I had as a follow-up, and for you to be able to do that in that short amount of time is phenomenal. You know, there are a lot of products out there. There's a million, you know, and some are laughable, and a lot of them have merit, certainly. Tell me, though, I'm curious, and I'm sure our coaches are, how do you, I mean, if you're talking about 40 degrees, 38 degrees, 45 degrees, do you have how are you exactly coming up with those numbers? Do you have something that, are you videotaping it? Do you have there's products out there who will that will call out the degrees and things like that. How do you exactly do that?
Yeah, as far as like anything like Noah or something like that, Noah will give you the entry arc, okay? So 9450 gives you entry arc, catch the shot, release time, which is more relative to a game shot, as well as it'll give you the ball spin rotation. Now, the system also is transportable. It weighs about 30 pounds. I put it in a gym bag. It comes with the system. So I don't need to have it locked in a corner or stuck in, I don't need to wheel it out or anything. It's about 30 seconds of setup, and it's all good from there. So within every single training that I do, whether I'm working with a team, my off-season trainings with multiple players, sometimes I'll have 20 players in one workout at a time. Sometimes I'll be doing one-on-one stuff with college players. I simply pull out the system. It sets up in 20 seconds, and my kids are taking ball handling tests and shooting tests, and they can do them simultaneously. I can take a simultaneous ball handling test on one player, I can do a shooting test at the same time, and that way they're getting that feedback immediately right on the spot. Very simple to use as far as I'm concerned. I'm pretty used to using it.
I think this would be a great time, Rich, for you to type in specifically the site or sites where they can go. I know you guys have video. The 9450 site is really good. I really enjoy it because I'm sure one of the questions, because this to me is so fantastic, but I think if coaches see that, I think they'll really get excited about what it is you're talking about. So there's Rich's web address to 9450. I think that'd really help our coaches. Anything else on that, Coach, for the next question?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that I did clarify that information. As far as how the system works, you know, everything that you get with the system is you get two balls. You can get a girls and a boys ball, depending on who you work with. A whole varsity program, JV program, freshman program, as well as the boys and the girls can use it. Now, as far as the specifics of the test, you get a laptop with the system. So these sensor basketballs deliver this 2-minute test, this 2-minute ball handling test, which will directly give a player the assessment that you want them to get. So I'll often test a player and their left hand differential versus their right hand. It's subjectively we can tell they're what hand they are. They're right, they're left. They obviously have a weak hand. But instead of just saying, hey, you need to work on your left hand, the system will tell you your left hand is 22.7% weaker than your right hand. Your last ball handling test was a basic ball handling test, and it gave you a score of 85.19. How can we incrementally give you a better score? How can you get a better score? Well, the ball can measure what the player can do and what they can't do. So the only way that score is going to improve is if the player improves. So from there, everything about those tests that I just gave a player, whether they be a 12-year-old girl or a college male elite player, these tests are then linked up right directly to 9450's website, which prescribe for the players based upon whatever weakness they showed in their test. Will give them direct ball handling regimens and shooting regimens to follow, which will then, the next time I test that player when they come in, whether it's a week later, 3 days later, how often they get to work and what they need to do in between. This is a way of objectively measuring and assessing their development week by week, and it's just been astounding for my players. It's just been absolutely astounding for how it helps them measure their progress.
Before we move on to our next question, Coach, down in the chat box, take a look. Brian Clayton asked a question: does 9450 have a baseline for players to compare to? So if a kid is slow from catch to release, we can. This is what we aspire for. If you can maybe respond to that. And then Rich also has a question just about cost. He says it sounds amazing. What would it cost to get into that? And whether you want to get into that now or just in a bit, I'll leave that up to you. But if you just want to address those questions, that'd be great.
Yeah, it's a great question. As far as all the kids who are tested, we have players from the, like I said, the youth level through high school to advanced college, elite college, all the way to the professional level. Mike Conley uses our system with the Memphis Grizzlies. Wisconsin is using our system, Ohio State. Everybody at the higher levels is recognizing how valuable this is as a tool to adjust players' habits. Now, with a player such as the question, whether it's a high school player or whatnot, and say they're getting their shot off at 1.3 seconds, it will tell them directly right away that is a slow catch the shot release time. And everything is categorized. We have world rankings from 14 and under, 12 and under, elite level, so every player can see where they fit into certain categories. So if a player were to take a ball handling test, for instance, it will tell them if you score a certain level, you're at a basic level, or you're at an intermediate level, or it'll say you have advanced elite skills, depending on where you are recognized with relation to the massive market of players that we have tested. We have, guys like Mike Conley are elite level ball handlers. So we can categorize these players, whether it be shooting or ball handling, and then rank players and give them where exactly they are, and then give them incremental goals to work for week to week to week. And we find this to be completely different. It's totally changing everything with how players are developing, and it's really changing how fast players can get better, because the game is about one thing, and that's muscle memory. When you get into a game, catch the shot release time, if you're thinking in your head, or if you're handling the ball with one hand versus the other, and you have to think, you're in trouble. Okay, so this game is about reading and reacting. And if we have muscle memory habits built into our core skills, with our footwork, with our ball handling, and with our shooting, we're going to be in good shape as a player. And we can actually teach players how to improve the habits they need to have in the practice environment in order to apply those skills to the game environment. And 9450 is just the best way for me to measure that continuous progression.
Did you want to get into how they can get involved in their own system right now, and what that would entail, Rich, or do you want to wait until a little bit later?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. I mean, it all depends. First of all, if there's any information that you need more information on, you can contact me directly. I'll put my email in there right now, rich.walton@9450.com. So you can go to 9450.com to learn more about it. Now, as far as the sliding scale of the cost of it, it always depends. So with the pro levels and the elite level college players, they need a totally different set of skills and drills to work off. They need the 2-ball drills for the elite ball handling test. They need the 21 foot off the screen right. They need the 21 foot off the screen off of the dribble. They'll need a different series of tests. Now, for the basic level, youth to high school, and even most college programs probably won't need the elite level pro system, which is a $5,000 cost. But we have a varied scale of what it does cost based on the packages. So all the drills that are embedded within the system, you will get basic tests for shots and ball handling, and you will get advanced. So, it really just depends on what the budget is like. And like I said, a lot of programs can split it between the men's and the women's programs, whether they be at the high school level or the college level. So usually there's plenty of room in the budget, because, we do break down the cost a lot. It's a lot more manageable for a high school program to buy the system than it would be for like a $5,000 college pro elite system.
Great, thanks for sharing. And obviously, this is a, this is a very personal, interactive environment that we have here. Brian Clayton wants to know about any testimonials from the college programs that are using it, and I'm sure you can. In fact, the last slide, Brian talks about all the people that he has played with. But I know on their website you have testimonials, Rich. I've seen those. And so, yes, you can certainly track those down and read up on those. Next question, how are the scores transferred to practicing for a purpose? And again, Rich, if there's a question that you think is maybe a bit redundant, we can move on. I'll just leave that totally up to you.
Yeah, I think we kind of addressed that. I hope I was clear about that. Within the 5-shot series, I'll see a player immediately make adjustments. If all players were in optimal ranges, we wouldn't need this system, right? I've tested hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of players. Now, it is very, very rare that a player will shoot with optimal ball spin, optimal catch to release time and optimal entry arc. It is so rare that the few that I have tested that were there, guess what? They were both All-Americans. So they already had some good things going for them. Most of the players that we work with, that I train, although I did have one National Player of the Year and one All-American, I did have one. Most of them aren't All-Americans. So they need work, and they need work in a lot of areas, and this is a way to address those serious flaws, whether they be shooting. And I know we've seen some pretty awful shots, and but this is a way for me to transcend what they're doing and help them improve at a rapid pace. I've seen players make adjustments in a very short amount of time, and it just happens, and it's amazing to be a part of.
And not only you, but for the players that you're affecting. I mean, there's nothing like increasing your confidence level. There's nothing like. It's like opening a Christmas present sometimes with kids when it just clicks for them, and it sounds like. It's just an amazing tool for the kids to really get excited about the game and improving, because they all put in a lot of time, and sometimes you feel like you're kind of hitting the wall. So I think that's a great point. And again, we're talking about players and gaining confidence and those types of things. I know you've got it broken down into what it actually does for them.
Yeah, well, what you just said was, players are competitive, they want to get better, and most of the time they just don't know what to do. And they play a lot of games nowadays, there's a lot of AAU stuff, there's a lot of tournaments, there's a lot of showcases, but there's not enough time designated to developing in between games. And this is a way for us to condition players to get that competitive drive flowing, to motivate them, and to hold them accountable to their own progress. So when you leave players that go from one season at the end of the winter season and say, okay guys, you got to get better, we need everybody to get better, next year we're going to be doing team stuff and blah, 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 and then the players come back and, some are better, some aren't, and it's like, well, I need everybody to get better. This is just a way for me to really motivate them, because the only way that those scores are improving are if the players are improving.
Now, let's get on to the other side of it, the coaches, because we certainly, are going to want to be vested into this. We're really going to need to buy in. And talk to me from your experience about what it does for your coaches.
Well, I can go in a lot of different directions with it. I know that the inherent competitiveness of players within the team environment is vital to competition. You need your players to be competitive in a practice situation. You need them to improve. And, they need to be motivated in a lot of different ways throughout the course of the season. Now, if they're motivated for their own level of skills, then every player is improving. So the more skilled your players are, the better shooters, the better ball handlers you have as a team, you're going to be in pretty good shape. Now, what happens usually with the system is once one kid gets on the system, they all want to get on it. And once they start to take those ball handling tests, and so-and-so scored 81.8, and so-and scored 91.2, and so-and-so's on the advanced test now because they're too good for the basic test, that drives an inherent competition within your own team chemistry. And I've seen that happen with teams I've worked with, and just the natural competition of players makes them want to beat each other's scores, which then translates to becoming better ball handlers and shooters in the process, which definitely helps you out. So you have a skill development accountability coach built kind of right into your program, which is nice to have, because every player, if you have 12 to 15 good ball handlers and good shooters on your team, it makes the rotations a little bit easier.
Before we move on, Coach, a quick question from Brian Ziegler, high school girls coach, interested just in the term entry angle, and explain that to him.
Yeah, absolutely. Entry angle is the entry angle that the ball goes through the basket. Now, there's one optimal entry angle, and that's 45 degrees, okay? 45-degree entry angle of the ball going through the basket. Now, what we'll often see is players will be able to get away with a low entry arc from a shorter distance, from a 14-foot shot, from a free throw, from an 18-foot shot sometime. And what will happen is that ball hit the rim, it'll roll around, and then maybe go in. Now, being that the rim is a cylinder, the optimal entry arc is 45 degrees to get that ball in the basket all the time. And the best shooters are back rim shooters. If they're going to miss, they're going to miss long. So what we will do is, with the system, we can provide them that feedback and show them directly that often, and this is very often at a high school level, girls and boys, often they very rarely have an optimal entry arc of 45 degrees. Most often they'll be well below 40 degrees, and you have to address that block. That player's going to be a better shooter. So by giving them that information, you can definitely help the shooter improve. Now, what will also happen is when you see a player shoot at 14 feet, especially with boys, because boys all think they want to be jump shooters, and then you get them out to a 21-foot shot or a 20-foot shot, they will alter their shooting mechanics, and that's a real problem for consistency. So what the system allows you to do is measure that player at 14 feet, whether you want to shoot catch and shoot standstills, whether you want to shoot off the screen, whether you want to shoot off the dribble. You can give them that information, then you can move them out to 18 feet, then you can move them out to 20 feet, and you can see, and usually there's a direct correlation. When you move that player from 14 feet to 20 feet, there will be a significant drop in entry arc. And usually, like I said, they'll usually start below 40 degrees. That entry arc will even drop further when they get back out to 20 feet. So once they get to 20 feet, if there are significant flaws in the shooting mechanics, they just won't make shots. It's just bottom line, they're just not going to be a consistent shooter until they can hit those optimal ranges. So I hope that answers your question. The 45-degree entry arc is we can measure that, like I said, in a 5-shot test.
Another question that was sent through the chat box. Rich talked about basic and advanced tests for ball handling. How many different levels of testing are there for ball handling and for shooting?
For ball handling, there's 3 different levels. Okay, so you have a basic test, which is just going to be a left-handed speed dribble, a right-handed speed dribble, a 2-ball coordination test, and a front crossover. So there's only 4 tests in that basic test. You'll get the advanced package with any ball handling package will come with a basic and advanced. Now the advanced test is a full-on figure 8, 2-ball side Bs, and then we have behind the back, right-handed side B, left-handed side B. So we can still measure the differential on left versus right, and it's completely complicated. It's a much more challenging series of drills. Now the elite 2-ball test is what we have a lot of the high-level players on, the college-level players, the elite-level Division I players, and those will be 2-ball, high pounds, knee-high, shoulder-high. We'll have front circles, we'll have side Bs, front Bs. That'll be a totally different series of tests, but that doesn't mean that younger players can't do those skills. I have young players who are 13, 14, 15 that have incrementally worked their way from basic to advanced to college elite level, as well as the shooting. Now the shooting end of it is you can get players simply on 4 shots. You can get a catch and shoot from 14 feet, which is a free throw. You can get off the screen, okay, off the screen, or you can get, in the same series, you can also get a 20-foot catch and shoot, and you can get a shot off of the dribble. Now that's a basic shooting series that you can get right with the system, which will definitely allow you to diagnose every single flaw within a player at the high school or college level. Now the elite level, pro elite level, they need to be able to do right foot off the screen, 21 foot off the dribble. It's a totally different advanced series of tests. But for high school level, all you really need is basic ball handling, advanced ball handling, and the high school elite shooting system, and you can do and address all the flaws of your whole player of all your players in your program.
Thanks so much for you coaches who are throwing those questions in here. That's what this is all about. One of the things, that I like in the work that I do is to answer questions. And we watch videos, we gather information, but there's nothing like the collaborative question and answer type of interaction. So great, thanks for doing that. And again, you'll think of things later, or there may be a question that you just didn't enter. You're going to have Rich's contact information. We'll do it again at the end, and he would love to hear from you on any other things that you may have that you have questions on. Next question, talked about players' flaws. What are the common flaws that you see when players are given feedback, particularly in reference to shooting?
Well, right off the bat, I talked about entry arc already, and another thing is ball spin rotation. And, you know, I don't think a lot of players or coaches, and that's why the educational part is so vital. So 45-degree entry arc, for instance, extremely important to understand what that really means. It means you're going to make more shots. Now, ball spin rotation, well, how can you really measure that? Well, 9450 allows us to measure that, but how do we know what the parameters should be? So within a shot test, ball spin, for instance, if a player's shooting a flat knuckleball or there's not enough spin or there's too much spin, both of them are a problem. Now, it's very rare that a player will have too much spin, so it's usually there's a lack of spin. So we can directly address that issue in itself, because that's a very important variable to becoming a better shooter. Not just entry arc, but ball spin rotation. So if a player should be around 130 RPMs, the system tells you that, like I said, in a 5-shot test. Now the player can get back to work on particular skills that are going to help build up the wrist action and the release point of how they can get the spin on the ball that they need. Now, from there, we can get right into the last thing, which is catch the shot release time. So how do you tell a player who thinks he's a varsity player and wants to be a shooter, well, you know, you're taking too long to get the shot off. Well, if you put them on a shot test, you can tell them right away, it's taking you way too long. And it'll tell them right there, 0.9 seconds or more, slow. And we want to get every player down into a 0.7 to 0.8 range. So like I said, with all those three very, very vital variables of entry arc, ball spin rotation, and catch the shot release time, if you can isolate each one of those variables and fix them, you're going to have some good shooters. And that's an immediate problem that I see all across the board. Like I said, I test hundreds of players, and I rarely ever see players that are in those optimal ranges. And those players that are usually already pretty darn good.
Thanks to Brian Clayton. Brian's with us today. Just a quick question. You talk a lot about individual training sessions, certainly. Brian wants to know, not so much for team workouts, or, you know, where's the transfer over?
Yeah, it's a great question. Can you just use it with one player individually? Do you need to bring all the players to the side? And how are you going to test one kid even if it takes 25 seconds and whatnot? I'll give you a little secret. My players all run their own tests. I don't run any of the tests. I show them how to run the test. They get a rebounder, they get a shooter, and they set it all. It's all set up for them. They run their own test. So when we do breakdowns at a basket, for instance, you can have 4 shooters at a basket, and one guy's a 94-50 shooter. Whatever shot we're working on that day, whether it's off the screen left foot, whether it's a pull-up three, whatever a shot that we're working on with players to address those variables and get them in optimal ranges, every player will cycle through the entire system with ball handling and shooting in a single practice. So I'll get every player will work in teams of 2 or however we do it throughout the course of the workout or the practice. And instead of having so-and-so on the side, not doing anything, watching a scrimmage or whatever you have going on, in our skill session breakdowns, I have players doing left-handed dribbles, right-handed dribbles, as well as doing shot tests right in the practice scenario, and we use the test pretty much every day. So as far as using it only for individual trainings, I use it for high school level trainings, just a regular practice. I use it in a practice every day.
Seems to me you took over a program that couldn't win a game, and I would imagine that this system had a whole lot to do, Rich, with what you did with those guys.
No, it does. I mean, it does. When you have a player who can't dribble with his left hand, and you got a player who likes to shoot a right-handed step back, and he shoots it at 29 degrees, and he hits the front of the rim, how are you going to convince that player that shot's not going to go in? And that's the thing about players, and we all think we can do things that because we make one shot, we're a good shooter. I mean, the parameters of consistency are what really make a player, and whether a coach consistently wins, that's how we can tell if a player is good or not, or a coach is really doing his job, or he's got a great program or whatnot. Now, with all my players, I needed to develop them. There was no way. There was no team offense. If we couldn't catch, dribble, pass, and shoot well, we weren't going to beat anybody. So that's what it comes down to, is I needed a way to address the player flaws that I had. And I had a lot of flawed players, to be honest with you. But in turn, to take a team from 0 wins to then having a first-team All-State player and having 6 players get recruited to play in college from that same team, I was pretty pleased with what we were able to do. And, I'm not a recruitment guy. I don't like to go out and recruit. I like to develop. My thing is to develop. I love developing players. That's my passion, and I get more satisfaction of seeing a player who really can't do a whole lot or needs to get better in some ways, and then this whole process of allowing me to communicate information to them, which is going to then help them get better at something that they love to do. They just don't know how to get better. So now I know I need to give them information. Okay, you're shooting at 29 degrees. You're not going to make shots. What do we need to do? We need to fix your mechanics to help you make shots. And to see those players translate that information and then take it and use it. And then a week later, he's shooting at 35 degrees. 2 weeks later, the kid's shooting at 42 degrees. And guess what? 2 weeks later, we're in a game and the kid's knocking down threes. So that's the way it's all designed to work. Is what does it do for the players? And I need the system. I need it to work. I need my players to have access to this information because it makes them better. That's what it comes down
to. The next question we had prepared was just about how often to use it. I think you've covered that. You use it every day, and I love your point about it seems like there's 3 levels of kids. Well, 4. Those who don't get in the gym, those that get in the gym and just jack around, those that get in the gym and do shoot 100, 200, 500 shots, but without any thought whatsoever. They just shot, hey, Dad, I shot 500 shots. Great. And you talk about specifically about analyzing each of those shots, and I mean that's a no-brainer. I mean that's how you get better. Rich, and for the sake of time, let's just I want to move on through a couple more questions, and then what I'd like to do is just pause for a second, and if there's any additional questions, type them in the box, and then we'll wrap up. Here's a question about players and coaches' reaction to the assessments. Now, I think reaction is a great word you indicated, because none of us inherently like to be told we're not very good at doing something, especially players. That's what's so cool about evaluation, because it's objective. You're taking yourself out of it, and in coaching, that's a big part of coaching, making decisions on this kid and that kid and who plays and who's getting better and who's not. So I love the question.
That's it. I couldn't agree more. I mean, the objective side of it is the ball tells the story of what the player can do. That's what it comes down to. Either you can do something at a certain level or you can't. And there's nobody giving you subjective info or input, or coach doesn't like me or that or whatever. It's not about your perception versus mine. The system is what it is. The test is what it is. The score that you currently have is what it is. And the only way it's going to go up, the only way those scores go up, is if you improve. And it's been a serious motivator for players to significantly improve and adapt to a new training style and a new regimen. As you alluded to, shooting shots, I mean, I will honestly put my training hours as a player up against just about anybody. Thousands and thousands and thousands of shots. But if I had understood about my own self, and I'm part of a new wave of coaches that, is next generation guys who, like you, who love the game. If I had this system when I was 15, 16, 17, I don't know. I think I would have been I don't know, it would have changed everything for me, because I would have altered more the practice habits that I would have worked just as hard, but I would have practiced even more for a purpose. And that's what I'm seeing players do, and that's why I get so excited about it, is I see players adjusting and making practice modifications, and when they come back for that next test, their improvements are evident. It's obvious, it's noticeable, and then that translates to game confidence and game performance.
They say the proof is in the pudding, and there's no question about it. I mean, we talked about this earlier. There's more gizmos and gadgets, and it's not just in basketball, but I mean, that's kind of our world. You just turn television on, and everybody's got the greatest, latest, whatever. People that find something of this quality and use it, I think, just speaks volumes. So if you just want to briefly go through the people who are using this, I think that would be great for our coaches.
Yeah, I'm not mostly up to date on who some of the professional organizations are. Like I said, we have Mike Connolly of the Memphis Grizzlies, who's very involved with our organization now. But we have many elite level Division I colleges. I think I mentioned Ohio State, Kansas State, Florida State, Michigan, Wisconsin. We have just a ton of colleges that are using it. But it's not just for the Division I's. It really isn't. I look at it as, we see more players at the lower levels of college basketball, whether it be Division II and Division III, as well as high school and youth level, that are really, we're seeing players making these adjustments and how much it's helping them. And like I said, I don't just work with elite level college players. I work with all sorts of players all over the map, middle school to high school, that I train in the off seasons, and that's who the system's really helping the most, because they have the most flaws. They have the most areas of need. The elite level college player has growth, but not as much as the guys who are younger and still developing and need to develop better practice habits so that they can improve.
We've had some new coaches come in here, and thanks for coming in late, coaches. But a quick question, Rich, can this be used on an outdoor court?
Sorry, can you repeat that, Randy? I didn't hear the last part.
Coach Singer was asking a question in the chat. Can this be used on an outdoor court?
No. Got to use it inside. The balls will wear down after a while. It's meant for an indoor. It's an indoor product.
Just FYI, your audio went really, really low there. I don't know if it was something on your end or not, but so let's do this, Rich. We've had some great questions, coaches. If you have any additional questions right now, please type them into the box. And I just want to hand this over to Rich and just kind of make a final comment on how you can get involved with getting your own system, and again the communication that he would need from you, whether it be email or check out the website and follow from there. But Rich, how can the coaches get involved in getting your system?
Well, if there's anything that I left that maybe wasn't clear, I apologize. I tried to do the best I could with answering any questions. If there are any more questions, you can contact me directly. I'll give you my cell phone, my email address. I'll write in there. But I would recommend everybody go to 9450.com. You go right to 9450, and you're going to see all the videos. You're going to see all the testimonials. I mean, last year's Nebraska state champion used 9450. There's just the programs that are seeing it, learning about it, adopting it, and seeing the results of what it really does. The results speak for themselves. So I would say go to 9450.com. You can always touch base with me. I've been using the system for over 2 years now, and I'd be happy to hear or answer any questions from any of the coaches, whether they want to email me or even call me. I'd be happy to talk to them, but I hope that they were able to get some valuable information today to help them understand a little bit more about how 9450 works and how I use it and how any coach can use it. Any coach from the youth level, high school level, all the way through college can use it in a practice setting and help every player in their program improve. And that's really why I came on today, Rainey, to help anybody else that's out there that want to learn about it. I'd be happy to continue the conversation.
Fantastic, coaches. Thanks so much for joining us. This has been great. And Rich, if you could take your mic off. Very good. Thanks. Thanks so much for attending. I'm just going to talk about what I do here for just 1 second. But I want to thank Rich for taking the time. I know he's really busy with his this elite training camp that he's involved with out east. And I would like to do this again. I think there's so much to this. As you can check Coach's phone number down there and the website, the email. I would like to revisit this. What I'm able to do with this Talk Fusion, in fact, if there's an application for you as an educator or a coach or a business person or whatever, this is, I can't tell you how cool Talk Fusion is. I would highly recommend it. But what we didn't even touch today was two really, really cool things. We can do a file share back and forth, and Rich, we'll do that next time, where you can basically in 5 seconds send a document to the coaches and they can upload it. But then it's got a video component, which I use all the time. And so what Rich and I will talk about revisiting with 9450 and maybe doing another program. Again, this has been recorded. I've got email addresses. Those of you who sent me an email, I will follow up with a recorded version. And then lastly, like I told you, it's my calling in my post team coaching career to help coaches. And there were probably a dozen of you on the call tonight who are members of what I do, the CoachRB website. I know Rich is, and could certainly talk about that sometime. But what I've basically done is I've taken a lifetime of observation resources in video and put them into one site. I'd love to have you visit CoachRB.com. We've got 30 video categories. There hardly is a category in the game that we don't have covered, and you go to that category and there are drills, there are plays, there are resources. You can kind of see what the all the features that we have. And so what I want to do, and thanks to you guys, and hopefully get you involved, is get you signed up. I can send you the link. The link's actually on there, but that's not going to work for you. But I'll follow up with the link, and I've got several ebooks. I've got an ebook with 190 set play diagrams on it, offensive strategies, game, and practice management. But you'll also get the opportunity 24/7 to dive into this encyclopedia that we put together, and it's really, really awesome. I add to it every week. I work out a group of 10 college players 2 to 3 times a week. And these workouts are really competitive. We film everything, and I'm always adding that content. So come join me and come join me and become a member of what we're doing. I screwed up on the audio there. I'm sorry. But I'll send a follow-up link with this special offer, and just really want to thank you for your time. Anytime coaches can get together and share information, it's a positive thing. Nobody has all the answers. Certainly nobody has all the answers. But boy, this has to be a community where we share for the betterment of the game. And if we're evaluating players to help them become better players, wow. I mean, what a great deal. So I want to encourage all of you to continue to share the game. That's what this thing is all about. That's my charge. I know that's what Rich is all about. And so, hey, listen, I'll follow up. Rich will follow up. If you have any questions, we even had a couple coaches here, Coach Norcutt and Robert. If you coaches would put your email address in the chat box, I will send you a video recording of this program and also a few other resources and information on the special offer. Rich, thanks so much. Good luck in your camp out there. And you guys all have a great night. Let's stay in touch with each other, and let's help each other become better coaches and help this game become better than it is. Thanks a lot, guys.
Randy, thanks a lot for having me on. I appreciate everybody being there today. It's been a great honor to be here with you all. So thanks a lot, and feel free to contact me. I'll put my website up and my email again. But I just want to say thank you to you and everybody who's on today.
Absolutely. Keep doing what you're doing. Thanks so much, everybody.
Lady that wants to talk to you at the door.
Hey, you know what? I'm on this program. There's no way I can. Just tell me it's parent not available.